Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to part 6 and the final installment of Castlevania Harmony of Despair review and let's play. Level 6 is the last level, either on normal or on hard, so we are going to have fun with this. This episode I'm going to be talking about Jonathan Morris. Jonathan Morris is a character in Portrait of Ruin is what this one is from, but he's also in Bloodlines, Castlevania Bloodlines for the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive. He is a cousin of the Belmont clan. He's not directly descendant, but they do share similar ancestry, which allows him to use the Vampire Killer Whip. The only problem is, since he is not a true Belmont, if he tries to use its full power, it will cut his life short. And that's the plot line of Portrait of Ruin. But, Portrait of Ruin, he has an assistant, Charlotte, who allows him to overcome the whip's handicap using just the power of his spirit. Anyway, I don't know. I haven't finished Portrait of Ruin. It's a great game, but I just haven't beaten it yet. I'm in the process of that. In Harmony of Despair, he is restricted to the Vampire Killer Whip only, and he is the only whip user in the game as of right now. There is some rumors that one of the characters coming out in the downloadable content will be Julius Belmont from the Area of Sorrow, Dawn of Sorrow games, and he will be able to use the Vampire Killer Whip as well. That is yet to be confirmed. The DLC has been confirmed, but they haven't said exactly what's going to be in it. So as of now, Jonathan Morris is the only whip user, and the only Belmont-esque character. Being that, his only weapon is the Vampire Killer. He can't use any other weapon. He does have access to sub-weapons, which range from the traditional sub-weapons like the dagger, the axe, the cross, but then he also gets weird ones, like a grenade, a paper airplane. So he's got some strange ones, and then he also he's the only other character that can use martial arts. Most of the martial arts abilities are going to be Capcom ripoffs, so you can see Shoryuken, no Hadoukens that I've seen, but a flaming uppercut does exist. There are a couple of people who are trying to do Shoryuken only runs with Jonathan, which are kind of entertaining to watch. He powers up his whip by using his sub-weapons, so the more you use your sub-weapons, which do cost MP, your whip does become stronger over time. And he also does have some special abilities that he can do with the whip. There's one that I've seen where he circles the whip over his head as a giant ball and chain, which does massive amounts of damage, but also eats your MP. And like any other whip-wielding Belmont, he is able to, if you hold the attack button down, he holds his arm out and the whip kind of goes limp, giggity, and when you tap a directional button, the whip will flail in that direction, like Richter Belmont or really any of the other Belmonts, honestly. So he does have some strengths because that whip, when flailing like that, can act as a shield. So he does have defensive capabilities, and he's got some of the greatest range for any melee attack out of any of the other characters. The whip is the longest single melee attack range, so it is beneficial to have him in it. Plus, his sub-weapons can be kind of useful. I mean, sub-weapons have been useful to Belmonts for dozens of games now. Other than that, he is also kind of equipment dependent. All of his equipment to increase his stats come in the form of defensive equipment, since you obviously can't equip offensive equipment. So, he is a very useful player in multiplayer, very handy against death, which we didn't have anyone playing as him in the last level, to protect against death's sickles that he summons to fly out from everywhere with his whip spin. And at later levels, he can do a fair bit of damage with some of the attacks that he gets. I've seen runs where he just can rip people apart. He's not as self-sufficient because he doesn't have any natural healing that I've seen. If he does, it's a very late occurring item, which will also hinder him because kind of need, you know, some self-sufficiency early on. So, other than that, very useful character to have in a group setting. I haven't spent a whole lot of time playing as him. Maybe an hour tops. So, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the stage and the boss. This is stage 6, so it's the last stage. And with any last stage in any Castlevania game, or sometimes Symphony of the beginning, the path up to Dracula is one solid staircase leading up to the boss room. And all but one of us are making it up to the boss room. One of our companions had to step back for a minute, so we told him just to stay someplace safe. Well, we took on Dracula. As you can see, one of the Somas can summon sickles like death. He gets that ability. One of our companions has just died. And Dracula's boss pattern, he takes on the forms from Symphony of the Night. So this is the first form when Richter Belmont's fighting him in Bloodlines. His second form is the large vampire monster that he takes in the second form of Richter's fight. The third form is the form that Alucard fights him at the end of the game. We've defeated his first form, and you see him transforming into a second form. His first form is actually really easy. You just have to dodge the fire. He throws fireballs, and he does Dark Inferno, and he'll have pillars of fire sprout up from the ground. All the attacks will telegraph. You can see what they're going to do. You just have to dodge them in time. His second form, he will jump and drop acid down. As long as you're not underneath him, you'll be fine. He does have access to the giant beam cannon, which, as you saw, it hit me and it hurt me greatly. This form, his hands are invincible, so they do act as shields, so you have to attack around them, as I'm doing by jumping up and using lightning on his head. But if you can get within the hands, you can just wail away on him, hopefully quickly enough before he'll start using the dragon heads to attack you. Otherwise, bring a lot of health items. But, as you can see, a Soma, two Somas, one with a Chrysogrim Yamingwei weapon, and a healing ability was more than capable of defeating him with the assistance of the other players. At least on easy. So, that has been Stage 6, and my quick review on Jonathan Morris. Now that we've defeated the game, I will see you all in future projects. Till then, later everyone.